Welcome here tonight on NTV's Grow, a scorecard called the Matrix. It's a tool that can now be used. It helps with local decisions on building ag operations, specifically large livestock operations in counties. We'll explain how it all works. And renewable fuels. Some say don't mess with it. Others say it's a broken system. Get both sides of the issue. Rope and ride and showcasing agriculture pride in the rodeo arena. What goes into the style you see in the Miss Rodeo competition. And one rodeo competitor is your Youth of the Month. It's time to grow. Some counties say their best tool for economic development is agriculture operations and adding new ones. Now they have a tool to respond when some people say, not in my backyard.
The door jam's still going to have to go in there.
Yeah. When Mark McHarg built a hog barn, he didn't want to raise a stink.
Know where that odor is going to be, and
he used mapping tools to account for the odor. That's one of the new standards McHarg helped draft, along with the Merritt County zoning administrator, in a proposed scoring system called a matrix.
We gave the counties and the producer a tangible piece of paper that says you've met all these requirements and these criteria, so therefore you shouldn't have any problems getting approved.
Those who want to expand things like feedlots and dairy farms would get credit for having environmental permits. Operators based out of state would be docked.
The hope is that the matrix would give a baseline tool that could be used in Merritt County or Nance County or any county across Nebraska if they adopt it. Lawmakers
proposed it as a statewide standard. Critics said a one-size-fits-all approach isn't right for Nebraska, so this new tool is voluntary.
It's a good compromise. We're letting the local control happen, and I think we're partnering with that local control. I think if we can get some cohesion there, get some adoption, I think it's going to be a win-win for both the producer and the county.
When county officials hear someone say, not in my backyard, they can show neighbors the scorecard, saying it's a way to grow the economy through livestock in a responsible way.
I mean, you have counties that are going through the budget periods right now and looking at a facility that might, be built as, adding $1 to $2 million worth of value to the tax roll. That's a huge economic enhancement for a county.
Hall County's beef with a feedlot appears to be heading to court. The county attorney says cattle feeder Ken Kohlhoff has more than 1,000 head of cattle. Last fall, they asked him to trim his herd. At the time, Kohlhoff told NTV he was running more head in an effort to remain profitable. The board voted unanimously to file an injunction, saying nothing has changed since last fall. More reports of livestock neglect coming into a local shelter, and the latest one happened in Merritt County. The shelter in Grand Island said they found horses with back and hip bones sticking out, some unable to stand for very long. It was neighbors who tipped them off, which say is a typical way that they find out, but what they don't know is what's causing the uptick in reports.
I'm not sure if it's awareness or if it's due to horses being cheap and not being slaughtered when they're at a certain age. But we're also dealing with goats.
Detloff says the economy and an increase in hobby farms could be factors. She urges the public to report neglect to shelters, veterinarians, or law enforcement. But how do you tell the difference between a starving horse and a skinny one? Well, catch the full report on our website. Farm groups say that farmers need to be on the alert for animal activists. In the wake of a New York Times report accusing Nebraska Research Farm of animal cruelty, a group called We Support Ag put on a farm crisis management workshop. The Meat Animal Research Center was cleared of any wrongdoing, but farm groups say they saw what they consider animal rights extremists shooting video around Nebraska farms and grew concerned.
When you start talking about these undercover videos, their goal isn't to improve animal welfare or improve handling or improve these operations. The goal is to put them out of business because they don't believe the animals should be raised for food, and we want more people to understand that.
This is the first livestock crisis seminar, and you can get more information. Head over to our website for the link. Nebraska Farmers Union warns farmers not to get locked into a one-sided contract when it comes to chicken plants. Opponents of the plant, the specific one proposed in the Fremont area, say chicken farmers elsewhere have been making bad deals. They've been get-up meetings in 4 northeast Nebraska counties, and Costco had said it is improving its contracts, but Farmers Union says producers need to protect their rights and should be cautious before signing contracts. Congressman Adrian Smith is concerned that the Chinese are holding up biotech crops, which is also concerning for Nebraska farmers when it comes to trade. Smith says the Asian free trade deal could be worth billions to farmers, but said he's worried some countries are using misinformation about GMOs to keep American crops out.
The fact of the matter is, I think we've got a bright future for agriculture as it relates to trade. However, I'm concerned about, for example, Chinese delays in recognizing biotechnology and the impact that actually has on producers themselves.
Farmers tell the government don't mess with the IRS, but other oil industry experts and supporters say that renewable fuel standard is a broken system. Here's both sides of the issue.
It's been a very big success story for the state.
Farmers power a $5 billion industry in Nebraska. But Mike Thiede says the government is sending the wrong message by setting ethanol targets under the level required by Congress.
It could be worse, you know. It just interjects uncertainty into the whole system, and uncertainty is never good when it comes to markets.
Governor Pete Ricketts says he's seen that firsthand.
Last year, when I led a trade mission to Europe, I talked to a Danish company who was going to expand in the United States, and because the EPA had changed the rules on the RFS, they put off those expansion plans, and we lost out on the opportunity here in Nebraska to grow jobs.
Farmers say the ethanol mandate is too low. Oil trade groups say it's too high. The American Petroleum Institute says consumers don't want ethanol. A statement from the industry says the RFS has proven to be an unworkable program that must be eliminated. Nebraska's #2 for ethanol, and many say uniquely positioned to take full advantage. Most of Mike Thiede's corn will go to make ethanol at a local plant, and from there, the byproduct, distillers' grains, will go and feed cattle, adding value to this crop.
Vital cog in our economic wheel of this state of Nebraska.
University of Nebraska and K-State, they are urging for more agriculture research. Especially on the federal level, 13 universities say we are losing ground to China and other global competitors. They say public land grant universities are all ready to respond, but need federal investments. One example of the kinds of projects they are paying off is a Nebraska irrigation network that has saved nearly 2 million acre-feet of groundwater. You've probably been really feeling the heat out there. When it comes to weather like this, you want to make a plan. And NTV's own Aisha Aubrey tells you what farmers are doing.
With 90-degree weather here, farmers have a lot to prepare for.
More routine checking, more maintenance, making sure everything's working right.
Jeremy Cass is a rancher at Triangle J Ranch in Miller. He manages 1,000 acres of crop, 1,000 cows, and 6,000 acres of grass in the hot sun.
Hopefully they get used to it pretty quick, or it'll be a long summer for them if it stays this hot.
That's not all. Moving bales of hay and making sure the pivots are circulating. Jeremy says it isn't hard to get behind.
Crops, if they fall behind, there's not much we can do other than get stuff fixed and try and get it going.
In these humid days has cause for some wishful thinking.
Temperature would drop about 10 degrees and an inch of rain once a week would be great.
A new Miss Rodeo Nebraska was crowned this last week. A big congratulations goes to Laramie Schlichtemeyer from Ogallala. Now there's a lot of work that goes into this competition, and dressing Miss Rodeo Nebraska is no small task. One lady has been doing it for 20 years. Here's NTV's Melissa Newman with a look.
Securing the crown, stitch by stitch and sequin by sequin. Jo Morphew is the seamstress for pageant queens across Nebraska.
These dresses wouldn't look very good just hanging on a hanger, but it's the girls. They are really neat girls.
While Morphew might be modest about her creations, pageant winners both past and present are ecstatic with Jo's work.
I still have some of my outfits that I wore almost between 15 and 20 years ago for queen competitions, just because of the emotional connections to the outfit of having them made just for me.
It was so overwhelming to know that these women dedicate their time, they take their measurements, they take down every single detail that you want for your wardrobe and they make it happen. They bring it to life, no questions asked, nothing is too impossible.
Often working alongside a local embroidery specialist, one of Morphew's collaborations has seen national spotlight.
The dress that we worked on together has gone to Miss Rodeo America twice. It went with one queen, and then when it was sold, the next girl that bought it wore it a couple years later in Vegas at Miss Rodeo America pageant. So that was kind of a special dress.
Morphew says her love for creating keeps her going even when she was at her lowest point after getting diagnosed with breast cancer.
It was a blessing to me to be able to have something I still love to do and to keep sewing for the queens the year that I went through the treatments, because it kept me happy, kept me productive, and thinking ahead.
One-of-a-kind garments from a one-of-a-kind person. Jo Morphew says the best title she's won is friend.
I am happy for them. I like seeing them blossom and grow themselves.
We'll head into the rodeo arena, highlighting one woman roping and riding her way into college. And of course, we have a grow forecast coming up. And next, we take a look at some tips you don't want to miss during irrigation season. We'll be back.